The second season of Soul Land 2, Peerless Tang Sect has reached its most thrilling turning point. Episode 122's preview reveals an episode filled with divine resonance, rage from the beast god, and an all-out counterattack against the Sun Moon Empire. Huo Yuhao once again touches the threshold of godhood, but just as the divine light begins to shine upon him, Tian's wrath descends, shattering yet another chance at ascension. The battle between human will and beastly resentment deepens, and this time, the fate of the continent trembles beneath their clash. Huo Yuhao's destiny has always been extraordinary. From the moment he inherited the Eye of Destiny, his connection with the divine realm had been a hidden thread guiding his every step. When he presided over the soul-receiving ceremony for Shu Sanxi and his companions, the vast energy of life gold surged within him. His spiritual power soared to new heights, and the barriers between mortal and divine began to blur. Within the silent depths of his consciousness, he felt a vast world beyond comprehension, a sacred light that transcended the material plane. That light, pure and eternal, was the divine realm itself. As his soul trembled, he found himself drawn to that brilliance. A godly figure seemed to stand before him, indistinct, yet radiating infinite majesty. For a moment, the veil between man and God parted. If he could have sustained that connection just a little longer, he might have been chosen, perhaps even bestowed, with a divine seat. But before understanding could dawn, a force of immense fury tore through the link. The majestic figure vanished, and the connection was severed in an instant. It was Tian. The beast god had felt the resonance, and his fury erupted like thunder across the spirit beast world. For hundreds of thousands of years, he had longed for that same divine acknowledgement, seeking to pierce the limits of his kind. Yet the divine realm had remained silent. When Huo Yuhao, a mere human, resonated with that sacred domain twice in such a short span, the beast god's pride and jealousy turned into hatred. To him, it was the ultimate insult, that a human child could touch what he, the ruler of beasts, had pursued for 800 millennia. Tian's wrath was boundless. Through the black dragon's reverse scale, his power reached out, tearing Huo Yuhao away from the divine resonance once more. In that moment, Huo Yuhao's vision collapsed, his soul shuddered, and the boundless majesty of the godly corridor vanished like mist. Once again, his path toward godhood was crushed beneath the shadow of the beast god's rage. For Huo Yuhao, it was a devastating loss. He knew what this meant. An opportunity like that might not come again for thousands of years. Tang Wutong, ever calm and perceptive, understood the weight of what had happened. She knew that if not for Tian's interference, Yuhao might have already been noticed by a deity, perhaps even directly chosen to inherit a god position. But regret was meaningless. The world of Soul Land did not wait for hesitation, and so Yuhao pushed aside his sorrow, suppressing the trembling within his heart, and continued his mission. Their next objective brought them to the Mingdu Mountains of the Star Luo Empire. As the team soared through the skies, carried by Duke Dai Hao, the wind screamed past them at an altitude of 5,000 meters. The air was thin, the clouds heavy with the scent of impending war. Yet amid the silence, Huo Yuhao's heart began to resonate once more. It began as a subtle vibration, an echo between heaven and earth. His spiritual sea rippled, and within moments, his consciousness began to transcend again. The golden light of destiny flared behind his eyes, and the line between reality and divinity blurred. Once more, the corridor of gods appeared before him, vast and endless, like the path of eternity itself. The gods above seemed to gaze down upon him, their wills ancient and unfathomable. The divine radiance embraced him, acknowledging his existence once again. It was a miracle few mortals could even comprehend. The Ice Empress, Tian, and the Snow Girl within his spiritual sea all trembled in awe. They could feel it too. The divine realm's will was calling to him, recognizing his potential, drawing him closer toward ascension. But fate, cruel as ever, repeated itself. As Yuhao reached out toward that infinite brilliance, Tian's fury once again pierced through. From the abyssal depths, the voice of the beast god roared, his rage shaking the balance between the divine and mortal planes. Envy consumed him completely. To see the human boy touch the divine twice while he remained bound to the earth was more than he could endure. His resentment burned brighter than ever before, and his interference tore apart Yuhao's connection, leaving the divine corridor collapsing into nothingness. Huo Yuhao fell back into his body, drenched in sweat, his chest heaving as his soul power scattered like shattered glass. His second chance was gone. For the second time, godhood had slipped through his fingers. But this time, his determination hardened. He realized that the divine realm's acknowledgement was not something one could seize through luck. It was a trial, one he had to face again and again until he became unshakable. With Tian's interference etched deep into his heart, Yuhao knew that the beast god would never allow him peace. As long as Tian lived, his path to divinity would be obstructed. Yet rather than wallow in despair, he turned that fury into strength. If the heavens denied him, he would carve his own road to godhood. The mission continued. Deep within the Mingdu Mountains, the Sun-Moon Empire's soul detection network stood as a terrifying monument to their technological dominance. Their detectors watched every inch of the battlefield, their fixed soul guidance cannons capable of annihilating anyone foolish enough to reveal themselves. The Starluo Empire's troops lived in constant fear of detection, their movements constrained, their spirits weighed down by invisible eyes. But Huo Yuhao was never one to submit to oppression. With the stealth systems crafted by his mentor Xuan Ziwen, he infiltrated the Sun-Moon Empire's territory, moving like a shadow through the night. His spiritual power expanded, detecting the intricate web of detection arrays surrounding the mountains. Every step was calculated, every movement silent. When he reached the core of the detection system, he deployed his custom remote-controlled soul tools. The small devices latched onto the metallic frames of the detectors, their energy humming with a low, ominous resonance. Moments later, a blinding explosion tore through the night sky. The mountain range shook with thunder as one detection tower after another erupted in cascading flames. The surveillance eyes of the Sun-Moon Empire were blinded in an instant. Yuhao's plan was flawless, swift, precise, and devastating. What once gave the Empire complete control had been reduced to twisted metal and smoke. The Tang Sect's brilliance once again illuminated the battlefield. But Yuhao wasn't done. Even as the debris fell, he salvaged the intact components from the wreckage. Each piece contained valuable data on the Sun-Moon Empire's soul tool technology. These would become the foundation for the Tang Sect's counter-research, a weapon that could one day turn the tide of war. For Yuhao, this wasn't merely destruction, it was strategic evolution. Yet peace never lasts long in war. The Sun-Moon Empire was enraged. Their military command was thrown into chaos as reports flooded in. Someone had not only infiltrated their detection grid, but completely obliterated it. The Emperor's fury was immediate, and the response came without hesitation. Mad Bull Douluo, Wang Yiheng, the leader of the evil Lord Soul Engineer Corps, was dispatched. A powerhouse with terrifying destructive capability, he was known for his ferocity and unmatched close combat strength. Wherever he went, devastation followed. Now his rage was focused on one target, Huo Yuhao. As the preview reveals, the sky above the Mingdu Mountains darkens as Wang Yiheng leads his corps into battle. The very air trembles with soul power fluctuations. His arrival signals an unstoppable assault, an attempt to crush the one who dared humiliate the Empire. But destiny has its own rhythm, and the hunter is often the one who falls first. Mad Bull Douluo's attack will be the beginning of his end. Against ordinary opponents, his brute force might reign supreme, but against Huo Yuhao, whose control, spiritual power, and strategic genius had already surpassed the level of most titled Douluo, brute strength alone was meaningless. The moment their paths cross, the balance of power will shatter. Huo Yuhao, the young prodigy who once trembled beneath the cruelty of fate, now stands as a warrior capable of shaking nations. The divine realm may have turned away for now, but its light still lingers in his soul. His heart burns brighter than ever, not with despair, but with defiance. He no longer seeks acknowledgement, he will earn it. As episode 122 approaches, the tension between heaven and earth grows unbearable. The divine realm watches in silence. Tian seethes in jealousy. The Sun-Moon Empire braces for vengeance. And at the center of it all stands Huo Yuhao, the man fated to bridge the gap between human and God, spirit and machine, light and shadow. Each step he takes now is a declaration, a promise that even if the gods themselves stand in his way, he will ascend through his own strength. The path ahead is long, and the battles to come will test every ounce of his resolve. But one thing is certain, his story is far from over. The journey toward godhood has only just begun. The preview for episode 122 of Soul Land 2, Peerless Tang Sect sets the stage for another monumental clash. Huo Yuhao's fate continues to defy both gods and beasts. Though Tian's shadow looms large, the light of destiny will not fade. As the Sun Moon Empire prepares for retaliation and Mad Bull Douluo's fury approaches, a storm greater than ever before is about to engulf the continent. Stay tuned for the next episode, where the flames of war and the call of divinity will intertwine once more. Will Huo Yuhao seize his chance to strike back, or will fate once again test his limits? Let's wait and see.